So as we all have just witnessed, I think the world is going through the pandemic and it's making a comeback. Well, in fact, it hasn't really left. And so right now, more than ever, it's the time where we need to unite together to try to get over this problem. And how fitting it is that we're now talking about the Bodhisattva Medicine King, who has made the vow and who has done much to cure the illnesses of the people of the world. So let us now going into the Lotus Review. I'm going to be very brief because I understand that for every day, many people have gone through the reviews. So I'm going to be brief, and I would like to go into the questions more, and hopefully that we can pick up some steam in answering some of these questions, as I understand that there are already many questions remain unanswered, and I think that's not a good thing. And I really want to appreciate everybody for asking the questions. Okay, so let us now begin. So last week we talked about, last week we were on entrustment, and we talked about that carrying over from chapter 21 was the transcendent power. Entrustment talks about that we have this power too, that the Buddha and the Tathagata has this power, but this particular chapter, entrustment, tells us that we have it too. We all have it, and it is our turn to use that power, to utilize that, to carry on the missions of the Buddha. So this is a time for coming of age. This is a time for us, for the disciples, to become the users. No longer are we just followers, but we're actually going to make the best use of what we have learned, what we have seen from our role models. Now it is the coming of age for us to do something. So I liken it to graduation, where there are graduates, teachers, family, friends, alumni, and commencement speech, and all of that. And it's very similar to commencement, because now in the times of June and May, it's a time for college graduation. And as you know, due to pandemic, that a lot of the graduation are now online, especially the commencement speeches. And there were some of the very famous commencement speeches, good and bad, but there are some of the very more memorable ones, like the Bill Gates one. So these are the speeches that entrusts, it's almost like you have no other way about it, right? You have to entrust our future to these young people, because we'll be old by then. So if you don't entrust it to them, who would you entrust it to? So it's almost like, well, there's nothing more I can do other than making sure that you get your opportunities and you get your trainings and you get your responsibility. So in this commencement speech, I also make a similar comparison to the Abundant Treasure Buddha, in that Abundant Treasure Buddha came to bear witness to all the teachings. This is very similar. This is very similar to in the commencement speech, that the speaker talks of, all the opportunities that they never had, right? They're talking about how they were growing up and they didn't have shoes to wear, or they had to walk long distance in the mountains just to go to school, right? This is just like Abundant Treasure Buddha talking about that he didn't get a chance to preach the Lotus Sutra. So it's very similar, right? It's all trying to tell you how precious we all have. The opportunities that we have is more than ever, better than ever, more ripe than ever. Therefore, we must cherish what we have. All this is the same train of thought that we have in our graduations too. The commencement speeches from our speakers will talk about how in the past, we didn't have computer. We had to go to libraries, take out books to read, to do our research. You can't just go on Google and type in a particular phrase and then all the things pop up and you're done with your research in less than 10 minutes. No, you actually go to the library, you take out books, and you had to read a lot of it to get to the part you need, right? And that's how we used to do research. Oh my goodness, this all the nightmares comes back, right? Now you just need to Google it, and it jumps to the direct sentence that has that part, right? So this was what the commencement speech was talking about. You know, because we have all these opportunities, we have to even do more greater things, not just be more lazy, right? It used to take you 2 hours to do, now it takes 10 minutes. It means you need to do more research rather than just taking 10 minutes and then do, you know, the rest of the time you're just wasting it. So that's what all this is about. So now this week, we're now getting into chapter 23. So I'm going quick, I'm going fast. There's something that I think is very important and deep too, that I wanted to cover. So this week, we're talking about chapter 23, which is the former deeds of Bodhisattva Medicine King. Now, we've actually been in this chapter for, I think, more than 10 days already, right? So our review is catching up. It's not right up there in terms of time, but we're catching up. So we're going to catch up really quickly. So this is very similar. Once again, going back to the analogy of graduation, it's very similar to the graduation speech. That if you imagine that entrustment is a graduation, it's a graduation ceremony, then the commencement speech will begin sort of at the end of the entrustment, okay? So now the topic is then and now of famous alumni, right? So you have the alumni, you have the students that graduated from your school in a previous class. We don't know how long ago, it's obviously a very long time ago, but this is a famous alumni, someone who has already accomplished something, right? And this was asked by one of the person in the audience and say, can you give us someone who is now famous or who is now working very hard, who is very successful, that graduated from our system? Okay, so instead of somebody asking who it is, in this chapter, somebody said, well, we know someone who is really famous and who is really successful. Can you please tell us more about this story? So the story is then and now of this particular famous alumni. And this alumni, his name is Bodhisattva Medicine King. So in this speech, the protagonist is Bodhisattva Medicine King. Imagine this way, right? You need someone as a role model. We have just finished all the speeches and all the ceremonies and all the trainings that you need. But now you need to look forward to, well, tell me someone who is actually going through the same courses and be successful. If you imagine, never citing Bodhisattva, Changpuqing Pusa, wasn't actually in this school, right? He was the previous reincarnation of the Buddha. So it wasn't this school. It wasn't this school. The school hasn't been founded yet because the Buddha wasn't there yet. It was the never citing Bodhisattva. So if you want to follow this analogy, you have to follow this through this particular system. The protagonist is Bodhisattva Medicine King. They want to know what he did coming out of this schooling system. Okay, so first question, why? Why are we talking about Bodhisattva Medicine King? Why is the Medicine King the protagonist of this story? So before we go into that, let's go into on June 16th. This is the day that's sort of the mix between chapter 22 and 23. On this day, Master talks about a story of a prince whose name was Human Medicine. Okay, that was his name. Okay, what was his story? So, you know, he was young and he didn't know how to speak. And at the age of 6, he was able to finally talk. But everything he talks about was about medicine, was about illnesses, was about ailments and how to cure them. And so the king thought this was amazing, right? The child for 6 years or 5 years never spoke a word. And when he finally spoke, it was all about how to heal and how to heal people's, illnesses. So not only that, but he made the vow that he wanted to cure all the people. So all the people at the time in the palace were all cured by touching him. Only touching were already able to cure all of them. So the king thought, well, this is great. Don't just cure the people in the palace. Let's cure the people in the kingdom. So he went outside the palace and cured everybody in the kingdom, right? So that's why his name became Human Medicine. It was almost like touching him or let him be, let him touch you, and you already took your medicine, and all the illnesses are healed, right? So for 1,000 years, so he lived for a very long time. For 1,000 years, the prince healed, right? Human medicine healed for thousands of years. Not only that, but his vow was so great that even after his death, those people with illnesses can still come to see the remains. And by touching the remains, that you're able to be cured too. And that was such a great and strong vow. So Master started with this story. Now, this human medicine, this prince, turned out to be Sakyamuni Buddha. Okay, so it wasn't talking about the Medicine King Bodhisattva. But this story was a prelude, was an intro into the kind of vow, the kind of power, the kind of traits, the kind of actions that Bodhisattva Medicine King also has. And that is why we are introduced into this chapter from Master by telling us that Sakyamuni Buddha used to do this. Now we're coming into Bodhisattva Medicine King, who exhibited similar traits and vows to heal all illnesses of all sentient beings. But now we're getting into his story. So the story is this entire chapter, and we're just beginning into it. Master just wants us to know, why is this Bodhisattva named Medicine King? Well, look at our Buddha. Our Buddha was also Da Yi Wang, the great healer. And he also possesses the power to heal. Well, now let's look at the Bodhisattva Medicine King. He also has these powers to heal, very similar. So let's now look at what he actually do. The first thing we got to know was that the Bodhisattva Medicine King wasn't always having this name. Just like Never Sliding Bodhisattva was a previous reincarnation of our Buddha, Sakyamuni Buddha. Same thing. There was a previous reincarnation of Bodhisattva Medicine King, and it was actually named Gladly Seen by All Sentient Beings, or Delighted Seen by All Sentient Beings. 一切众生喜见菩萨. So that was the name. That was the name in the previous reincarnation. Okay, so now the story that we're hearing was the previous reincarnation. Imagine that if this were a graduation speech, a commencement speech, then you're talking about someone who is very successful. Like you're talking about, Steve Jobs, or you're talking about Bill Gates, or even you're talking about Master Cheng, right? You'll be talking about her past before she was Dharma Master Cheng. There was a different name. This is the same idea. Don't wrap your minds around so long ago. It's actually happening right in front of our eyes. It's right now, right? So I think Buddha obviously knew about our human nature, that by adding in some twist, by adding in some mysticism, make it look to be very, very mystified, then people tend to believe that was back in the time, okay? But now we're going for facts. We're going for science, right? So this will be like Master sharing her story before she was actually Master. So it will be a different name. It will be a different reality altogether. Heck, there wasn't even a Jingsi abode at the time, right? So everything was different. Different name, different time, and different places. So the story would go on, and the story would continue. That's what we're hearing right now, right? So he's, going into Samadhi, and he is, very thankful. And it's today's morning Dharma Talk, he was very thankful, and he made offerings to the Buddha. That's the story, and the story will continue. So I'm just giving you the foundations to the story and what the story was about. And that was my sharing for that part. So now, although it is in a different time and in a different world, you could always see a constant. The constant throughout all the stories in the commencement speeches, or all these stories that we share. First, you have to be very diligent. And this is one of the things that we keep on hearing, that this Bodhisattva was very, very diligent, practicing and overcoming all the hardships to get to where he is. So this is almost like I said, right? Going back to that analogy, the commencement speech or whoever that was giving the talk about the alumni that is very successful. It's also talking about how they were able to get there, right? If you can look back, you can think about all the things that Master Cheng did in the early years of the foundation. It was all hard work, right? It was talk about 克难功德会, overcoming hardship. Now Buddha is talking about the same thing with gladly seen by all sentient beings. Very diligent, works very hard, overcoming all the problems just to get to where he is. It's the same thing, right? So the core of the thing is you must overcome and you must work very hard. And it's a very long time. Master will tell us the same thing. If I were the commencement speaker, I would be telling about Master Cheng Yen, and that would still be about the same stories. How she overcome all these difficulties, how she made the impossibles become possible. Okay, so it's the same thing. All the core themes remain the same. Everybody, this is what he did. And if you do that, you will be successful too. Second thing, the Bodhisattva, gladly seen by all sentient beings, was taught by the teacher at the time, the Buddha at the time, Sun, Moon, Pure Light, Virtue. Okay, now it's a very long name, right? So there's a meaning in terms of every name. We're gonna get in there. But the whole point was that he was taught and inspired not only because of the teacher, but also because of the Lotus Sutra. That's how you know that we're in the same system. We're in the same system because everybody on their journey to become enlightened, they were all going through the Lotus Sutra. So this is the core constant that you have to always see. And this is the same message that is telling you that now in your presence, there might not be a gladly seen by all sentient being Bodhisattva. There might not be a Bodhisattva Medicine King. There might not even be in your presence the Buddha. But what you have right now is you can choose to be diligent. You can choose to overcome all the hardships, and you have the Lotus Sutra as a guide to help you. That's what you have. So don't tell me, right? Going back to the analogy of a graduation, right? Don't tell me that with Google and all the computers and all the technology that you have in front of you, you cannot be as successful as the people in the past when they have no internet, when they have no tools, and they can still make people go to the moon. Now we have even more technology, we have more tools, and we have more everything, and we can't achieve what people of the past achieved. That's what this chapter is trying to tell you, that even though they're way in the past, but now we have the same thing. Even though they might have more than what you think you have, no, you actually have more. So I think this is something, it's a very powerful message to all of us. And I want to get into a little bit more. I know I'm a little bit over time in terms of what I wanted to spend on this. And on the 23rd, it talks about Samadhi and its physical manifestation. I really want to get into this because it's very crucial, it's very important. So Master took a long time. Well, it wasn't long, but it was deep. It was profound. Took a while on the 23rd and the 24th talking about Samadhi. And this is very different from the past Samadhi. The past Samadhi that we've been talking about has always been about mental and spiritual. How in your mental and spiritual state, you've gotten into the state of peacefulness. However, in this particular form, as the sutra has indicated, that gladly seen by all Bodhisattva was able to practice and understand and diligent and overcome the hardship from the Lotus Sutra and being able to attain this physical manifestation, Samadhi. What does that mean? What does that mean? Master explained that in its ultimate form, it's no longer just a cultivation on the spiritual or mental. It's actually so much that it comes out on the outside. And Master talks about it today too. The fragrance, the aura, the xiang. It's not just what you see, it's also how you smell. And that's amazing, right? Samadhi used to only talk about that you are at the state of peace, or even when you're meditating, you get to the state and nothing disturbs you, right? Whether you're meditating or you're walking or you're doing something, nothing disturbs you, right? Going back to the analogy of the muddy water, nothing can disturb you. That's Samadhi, right? But no, in the ultimate form, not only is it on the inside, but it's so entrenched in this individual that other people can look at you or even smell, and they could feel that you're so in peace with everything around you. And it is so powerful that without you, okay, the person that has achieved the physical manifestation of Samadhi both in and out, it is so powerful that without this person actually having to do anything, that the sentient beings already are inspired to do good and even willing to change. This is the power without you preaching, without you telling them, oh, please listen to Lotus Sutra. They already look at you and they can smell and they're willing to change already without you telling them. Amazing, right? This is supernatural. And this is not supernatural. This is beyond what we think as natural. But it is very natural. It is just beyond what we understand. And imagine, this is exactly what is happening to the same individual that come with the two different names. Imagine, gladly seen by all sentient beings. What does that mean? It means without you talking, without you doing anything, all the sentient beings look at this Bodhisattva and they're happy, right? So without you doing anything, they're already happy. Is this possible? Yes, it is very possible. It's not just about the virtue. It's about what you have done, what you symbolize, and what you represent. Just like when you put on the red, just when you put on the blue and white, they don't see your face. They don't know whether your name is gladly seen by all or Medicine King. They look at you and they feel confident. They feel loved. They feel safe. That's what it is, right? It's not how you look. It's not how you look. It's how you exhibit, how you exude all this confidence and loving and trust. That's what this means, right? Without doing anything. And remember the story that we talked about earlier about the vows of the Medicine King, about being able to heal by touching and eventually by looking? Amazing, right? Yes, that's what all this virtue was telling us. It's so much that without you telling them, follow the path, that they are able to do that they are already willing to change. And that's the power of Lotus Sutra. Follow this path, do and practice, then you will be able to have this virtue that without you preaching day and night about the importance, that you're willing to change. Okay, so that's what this chapter really is about. So there's more about non-self on the 23rd. And there's something that more I think everybody should get into. It's deeper discussion. In fact, I think Master did a touch and go, meaning I had to tell you this, but I'm not going to tell you more about this. You're going to have to go figure it out yourself. And they was talking about how, at the ultimate form, for whoever that has already achieved the physical manifestation of Samadhi, then everything you see, it's the representation of the Dharma that is in you. So if you reverse that, if you know that everything you see is representation of the Dharma in you, then what they see you also is a representation and a reflection of the Dharma in them. In that case, there is no you, because there's only the Dharma that's within you that you see. And there's a huge logic in there that goes around and around and around, talks about what it means to be non-self. And if you're really interested, we can have more discussion. If you're really interested, go back to read the verses. And there were actually the original verses that's online. You can also check the original verses that were explained by other past Dharma masters about this. Master took out the essence and explained in her way to us. But this is about non-self. The ultimate form is everything you see is a representation, a conversion from your I, and the matching from the Dharma that you have in you to what you see, or as people would say, the Dhammakaya. So this is more deeper than how I would like to get into, because we don't have the time to go deeper. But it just tells you that we're not there yet. We're still seeing people for who they are, not seeing people for how they and the Dharma is connected. The one thing that we should know is, one, we might not have all the things of the past, or we might have more technologies of the present. But the two things that we always have is our own effort and our own perseverance to get through the difficulties, and also the Lotus Sutra, the guide that is telling us to get there. So that's what we have. So don't tell people that, in the past, the opportunities are so easy to come by. Now it's very difficult. No. There are things in the past and there are things in the present. Most importantly, these things never change. You can work hard and you can overcome your difficulties. And there's a guide, there's a teacher to guide you, and there's a path for you to follow. It's all there for you. So we just need to be diligent, overcome difficulties, and follow the guide, follow the instruction, and walk the path. This is the same for all, whether you are in the past or in the present or in the future. It's the same for all. So that's what this chapter is all about. So I have 3 minutes. I'm going to go fast through all these questions. Okay, so we heard about the emphasis of emptiness, that one should not be attached. Why? Well, the afflicted minds, if you attach, it begets more afflictions. That's only in the afflicted mind. For example, food sustains our life, but could also be attached to its taste. When you apply emptiness to it, it doesn't mean and eat like a zombie, like you just eat mindlessly, but rather eating with, what is it? Mindfulness. So the emptiness doesn't mean nothing. It means that I see food for what it is. I see this food and I feel grateful. I see this food to know that it sustains my body. And I see this food, I know that it sustains my body to pass on the teaching, to do more good. That's called emptiness of the food, but making the best use of the food. So it's not void. It's not attaching to the taste. It's knowing that I'm grateful. Because without the food, my life cannot be sustained. With my life cannot be sustained, I cannot carry on my mission to help other people and preaching the Dharma. That's why it's called emptiness. Non-attachment. It doesn't mean void. It doesn't mean to tell you not to eat. It tells you when we eat, we look beyond just the food. Okay? So that's this question. All right. So in chapter 21, there's a verse that talks about the future and the 10 directions. Let me share with you the actual verse. This is the actual verse that was talked about. What this verse was talking about in chapter 21 was talking about, the Buddha said that whoever did preserve this sutra, preach and preserve and practice this sutra, will bring offerings and make everybody happy. Who? Everybody, including past, future, and present Bodhisattva and future Buddhas. That's what this is talking about, okay? So it's not just talking about Bodhisattva Maitreya. It's talking about everybody happy. Whoever opposes sutra will make everybody happy, okay? Everybody, past, present, future, all right? So next question. All right. Could it be possible that one could understand the Buddha state of awakening yet remain still defiled? Could it be possible? Let's go through this, okay? So there is knowing and there is understanding and there is reach there and there is back and again. So when you say, is it possible for someone to understand the state of awakening? Let me tell you, I think it is possible to know. Possible to know, even though we're not there yet. Just like when Master made the bow, she knew at the time that that's how it feels like to be so great and encompassed in the universe. It is possible to know, but is it possible to understand? I don't know. I don't think it is possible to understand because we're not there, right? It's like telling you, I can tell you on the phone, the Google map to Mount Everest. I know how to get there. Do I understand what it takes to get there? If I didn't do it, I wouldn't know. Do I understand how it feels to stand on top of Mount Everest? I don't understand. I could tell you what it could possibly be, but I don't understand. It's like telling you, do I know how to have children? Yes, I know. And I know how it works. But do I understand about parenting? No, I don't. Unless I am there. Unless I have children of my own. Unless I'm a parent. Now, not just there, but you have to reach. You're a good parent and you're successful and your children loves you and everything, then that means you're there. And not only are you there, but you are willing to come back and tell more people who are about to become parents what it is. So can they become defiled? Well, I am not there. I'm not there in that state, so I don't know. But is it possible to know? Yes. Is it possible to understand? I don't think so. We're not there yet, and everything we say is our speculation. Now, I am also not counting out that after the Buddha has gone into nirvana, that there are past very, very notable monks, okay? Very, very, as our series, the Dharma masters of the past, the very prestigious monks and all of that, right? I am not counting out the possibility that these could be the coming back of the Buddha to make the understanding even more so applicable to the people of that time. Just like right now, I am not counting out that it is also possible, and don't quote me on this, right? I know it's recorded, but it is possible, remotely possible, that our master could be another teacher coming back to teach us, continue the teaching, right? So that we are not deviated from the path and everything is just, speculation by the student. No, the teacher keeps on coming back so that we are not so far away from the main teaching. So I believe that. It could be the Buddha, it could be the other Bodhisattva coming back, but whatever it is, I think it's trying to get us to understand more. So can that be defiled? Again, I don't know how to answer that because I'm not there yet. I'm not there, so I cannot tell you whether they can be defiled again. I don't think it's possible, but that's only my speculation. Okay, but I do know that we might know with the Google map, we might know with the sutra, but do we truly understand it? Only when we get there on our own. But do we really understand it? It's when we are there, okay? There and back again to tell more people. Unfortunately, I'm only able to get through some questions. Okay, I'm 3 minutes over, but I'm gonna go through one more question. What is the connection between Empress Wu and the Buddha Dharma? Okay, so this is the sutra opening verse. Okay, this is what Empress Wu did, which is very important. What she did was she was a deep, deep believer of Buddhism, of the Buddhist teaching. So with all the might of the palace of the empress, that she was able to support the translation, support the propagation, support the continuing the teaching, the preaching of Buddhism in the Tang dynasty. Okay, and she wrote this verse, which is very important, and very quickly, it was Dharma is deep and profound, and we have a chance to see, to study, and to practice it, so it's even more important for us to realize its true meaning. And what it means by realize, it's not just to realize in the mind, but to realize it in our action, okay? So that's what, okay, one more question. I just see this question. Does Sakyamuni Buddha attain enlightenment first or Medicine King Bodhisattva? Okay, very, very difficult question to answer because I wasn't there, I don't know. But I think that the issue here is, first we know that Sakyamuni Buddha attained enlightenment not just 2,500 years ago. As in chapter 16, Buddha already told us that he was actually enlightened way before that, okay? And as the story goes, we don't know when or if Medicine King Buddha Bodhisattva was already attained enlightenment. We're not there yet, okay? The story hasn't gotten there yet. And I don't like to look ahead too much before Master get there, okay? So I want to follow, just like, don't spoil me with all the end results. I want to follow every day with what Master says. We're not at Medicine King Bodhisattva yet. We're still at gladly seen by all Bodhisattva, okay? So let us follow very, very carefully, okay? So question 44, no, Medicine King Bodhisattva is not Sakyamuni Buddha. They're not the same person. At least so far, we're not talking about the same person yet. Maybe it is, maybe it's not, but let's keep it to the ending, okay? So let's not speculate too much. Maybe they're the same person, I don't know. Maybe it's talk about this in the sutra. Maybe it's not, but they're really the same person. We don't know. So let us continue the story and we'll figure out more, okay? Thank you. I'm already 5 minutes over, but thank you so much. Keep these questions coming and I'll keep on trying to answer these questions in a very orderly fashion. But good questions and have a lot of discussions, and this is always good. Thank you all, and let's now continue on to the next session. Thanks.
Almost gratitude to Brother Joe. Yes, let us keep stay diligent and we will hear the answer soon. Okay, Kan'an, brothers and sisters, for staying with us. Good morning. Almost gratefulness to Brother Joe as usual, very enlightening. Today we have Brother Everett, very special Pusa. He has shared with us his many wonderful stories, and today he will share his the special COVID session mission. Very upfront during the COVID session, how Brother Everett entered into the suffering to the epicenters. Indeed, it's like what we are hearing in chapter 21, 20. All these few chapters are transcending powers. He could surpass the fear and enter into this serving all these frontliners. Okay, let us hear from Brother Everett. Over to you, brother.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. My name is Everett All. Thank you for inviting me for this today's sharing. So I'll begin my sharing. Okay, and we've been delivering meals to medical staff, or we call it frontliners, until mid of June, and a total of like close to 90,000 packs of lunch meals, and to places like you see, to all government hospitals and medical centers. Yeah, so okay, these are some of the images that in the hospitals and other people that we come across, to the police force, the relatives. Yeah, okay, and these are some of our dishes. You see, we are focusing very much on the colors and the materials that we use, because we want to tell people that we are not sending food, alone. We are sending love, and we are sending messages behind what we are doing. See, because people are not begging for food, and we are representing Tzu Chi, so we want to give people a deep impression, as Master Cheng always said, we wanted to plant the seeds in everyone that we come across the path. And these are the fruits, that come along the way. Yeah. So, okay, what bring us, bring me to do such an what they call it, work.
哇，那只要拉到上去很饱呀啦，一天到晚忙忙。
Okay. Hello. Okay. You see, I was sojourn in 2016. Yeah. So from that moment, I make a big vow, during that year, and I tell myself, I want to be a very diligent Master Cheng Yen disciple. So I still remember back then, I attended a reading session in Sister Sylvie's house, and it's all about the 时间、空间、人与人之间, the life economic. See, a book by Master Cheng Yen. So what I realized that we do wasted a day, how should I say, 空过一天不如使用一秒. So we have to make use of every second that counts, you see. So and I still remember Master Cheng always say this, 说我所做，做我所说. And those back then I always say what I know, 说我所知，知我所说. So it's like I'm just telling what I know, but I didn't go into the deep of society. So so from that moment, I tell myself I got to change my way of doing things, you see, to repay Master Cheng Yen kindness, because she's using her what they call it, her bones, her life, in exchange of her disciples' wisdom life. So that from that moment, and we always hear Master Cheng said, push for vegetarian. Everyone need to go for a vegetarian lifestyle in order to, to make this place a better place. So what can we do? And at that moment, we get to know that a lot of hospitals, they are closed down these canteen and all the eatery place, they are not available. So from that moment, we know that we need to do something, and at that moment, because we knew that Tzu Chi is doing those facial for this hospital, Sungai Buloh, and so we contacted the in Kapong, and we said we want to offer this. Can they make the what happened was that we got a very quick response, and they wanted the meals, and we started to deliver 60 pack initially, and the very same night they called us back and said they want to increase to 100 packs because they like the food, you see, very much. So okay, well, all right, my next slide. Okay, so as we all know that almost every Sinfa Siang, Master Cheng always, Sangren always emphasize on vegetarian, to push for vegetarian, so that in order for everyone to be safe from this pandemic, all right, we have to repent seriously, genuinely repent and go for a vegetarian lifestyle. So we see there's an opportunity for us to what they call it. To move forward, to bring this message to the people outside Tzu Chi, yeah. So I would like to share. You see, doing this not just deliver food to these medical people. At the same time, we do manage to make a very strong, good affinity with different masters from different society. So as you can see, these are the photos that we share with the masters. That what our Master Cheng has been doing every day, because during this pandemic, during this MCO, we cannot go out. So one of the masters that we approach is that to tell him that Master Cheng is doing preaching every day. We have this every day 1:30. We have this Qi Dao, So with all this sharing, those masters, they like this idea so much. So when it started, then we set up this laptop with the master, and so that master can do the live session or sharing with his own disciple or student. So, and then as you can see on these photos, you see, is that because we have been getting a lot of support from the vegetable market, and we have more than enough of our veg supply. And because we are delivering some what they call it JMP with the face mask, with the sanitizer. So I come across that this master actually is what they call it sponsoring and bringing a lot of vegetables to the pools in her area, and that's how I get to know. And then from then onwards, we are supplying this vegetable to this master. Okay, and she's very happy actually, so that then she can continue supplying to the pools, to the underprivileged, to the people or orphanage or the old folks. So, okay. Throughout this, okay, sorry, okay, some of the point people do ask, why do you want to send food to hospital, to the doctors? Because these are the people that they can afford to eat. It's not much on the affordability, but it's on the how easy can they get to the food. You see, during the MCO lockdown, it's 4:30 p.m. It's shared by one of the doctor in Sly Hospital. She got to wake up every day throughout the MCO, they call it lunch, prepare her own lunch to bring to the hospital, because there's nothing So you see, these are the problems that these medical doctors they are facing. You see, even they couldn't get access to the meals, to the food. So in Slying Hospital alone, we grew the number from what they call that 60 over packages to like close to 300 packs per day every day. You see, because we have a brother that a volunteer in the hospital. And where am I just now? Because you see, most of the doctors, they got no food. And what they did is that they just eat whatever leftover food a night before, you know, and they reheat the food and they bring to the hospital or the workplace and they share among their own departments, you see. So, and as I mentioned just now, some doctors are just eating white rice, you see. Yeah. As you can see, they are facing a lot of difficulties. One of the story I want to share here is that a doctor, you know, Dr. Liu is working Sungai Buloh Hospital. So what happened was one day he called me and said, Brother Ong, you do need to send my mail tomorrow onwards. I said, what happened? And he told me that because his team, there's one nurse which is contracted this virus positive, the whole team will be quarantined for the next 14 days. And what happened was, after 14 days, when I called him and asked how is the condition, he told me that he is negative, he's safe, but out of his team, as 8 medical teams are contracted this COVID virus. You see, that is so wu chang. That's why from there, you see, I can see, you know, something wu chang. So it regards who you are, you know, you see. So when your affinity, you know, what you have to do. So, of course, along the way, we do share our Tzu Chi activities, and what makes us feel glad is that, you know, and many of the doctors, they actually feel bad because they've been getting a free food from us, from Tzu Chi. So when we share to them about what is Tzu Chi doing, you know, they feel, in fact, they sign up, you know, on the refugee family, 150 ringgit per family, you know, these are the things that, you know, and they ask us some question, then from there we can share with them, you know, our Tima event, you know, and they some of them, they wanted to join and ask us to update them from time to time, you know, all this kind of thing. So I will move on faster because okay. So, and as you can see, these slides are some of the children from Tzu Chi International School and their parents do bring them over to my place and to do a volunteer work. One of these students, year 7, you know, initially he reluctant to come and help. But, you know, the moment he came and he saw these 3 clocks, he asked me, Subo, what is this clock about? You know, as you can see, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So under explanation to him, and he went back, and this Chinese word that he wrote to his mother, I'm not going to read it out because I don't really understand. But he felt that he's so little, you know, seeing the world, you know, before and after. Okay, so. And these are the images that, you know, I go through this Selayang Pasar Borong, okay, directly. And actually, like Master Cheng said, you know, we have to connect with the people that we don't have the yuan. So when you go to these people, there's a lot of things that, you know, I pick up along the way. And you see, during MCO, there's a lot of people are facing a shortage of food. They can't even no way to get supply of vegetable. Like for ourselves, we get more than enough. We have roughly like 7 different vegetable suppliers, some even direct from Cameron's Highlands. Even until now, this Miss Oi from Cameron Highlands do supply, and from there we can, you know, transfer those vegetables to different kind of NGOs or, you know, OFOSOM. And more than 1,000 families are benefiting from these vegetables. Yeah. So some people ask, what about your family? What do you think? So I'm glad that, you know, that's why my sisters, home sister, and my 2 children, they've been exposing to Tzu Chi kind of education and learning, you know, in 亲子班, you know, the kind of thing, you know, 慈济大幼儿园. So the mentality are so positive. They don't even worry about contracting or myself getting the virus, because like Master Cheng said, the virus will only look for you. Just do our part, take care of myself, you know, pray and just think of others, okay, and don't have to worry so much. Yeah. And one of the person I want to share is that this Professor Tan from Hospital KL, and she pledged because of this virus, pandemic, and we sent food to her hospital. And in fact, she wanted to come to my restaurant and learn how to do cooking on vegetarian. So you see, to that extent, this is a very good what they call it news to us lah. You see, but because due to this virus pandemic, so she said she would delay her idea. She will come to my shops one day to learn. She asked me, "Am I willing to share, the recipe?" I said, "Of course, why not?" You see, I think this is because she's a very influenced person in this industry. So I believe, if she becomes a vegetarian, she will be able to, influence more people, along the way. And the next thing is that although now we have stopped supplying to hospitals, sending food, this Dr. Wananti, so she asked me the other day that because the school going to reopen somewhere around next month, and she gets to know that there are around 40 students that have lack of food because of their parents financially are being affected during this MCO. So, and she's been knocking a lot of places, but she got no response. So she's so happy that Tzu Chi are willing to step in. So we will start this so-called sending meals again somewhere around next next month. Yeah. So I like this master this one, 无缘大慈同体大悲. So we have to get down to the people. Then you need to understand them. We don't just sympathy, but we have to empathy, understand. Regards their their background, their religion, and you will see such a sufferings, in these people. Yeah. We are not afraid of poverty, but we are just afraid we lack of love. You see, we need to reach to the people who are less fortunate. Yeah, these are the people that are not being seen. They are voiceless. The kind of thing. Even though some of them are foreign workers. Yeah, so we just bring our food, extra food, and to the people who need. Okay. I would like to share this slide because I'm in vegetarian. So what is it about? You see, I like this picture. My family loves me for the person I am. Okay. So this boy thinks that he's been loved by his family, his parents. How do we love our family like this? You see, without knowing much, we've been educating our children from young, the way we eat, start from it. You see, the way we eat. So what I think is that we should love them by staying as a healthy person. I'm a father, be a healthy father, because I don't want to burden my children. When I get old, he got to take care of me, you see, and that is not fair, and that is not called, true love, you see. So, Master Cheng said, to encourage a person to become a vegetarian is much harder than to move a mountain. Can you imagine that? Everything comes with a price. You see, the question is, can we afford? As we know, the bills are getting expensive. You see, we don't want our children to sit by the beds, the sick bed side, and looking at us and can't do even much. As the says go, disease goes in by the mouth and disaster arises from careless talk, or 病从口入, or 祸从口出. You see, I want to share one story here, okay, about the 3 generations. A lady which is, she's considered not well, difficult life, but when she earn her hard-earned money, she will always buy the good food, and she's a vegetarian herself. And people start asking her, why are you, willing to spend so much money on healthy stuff? You see, why don't you get something, more luxury, use, a bigger car or whatnot? And she shared this story. She used to from a wealthy family. Her father is rich, because all her father wealth are spent everything on her grandfather's health, hospital bills. And, and what happened was, and among the siblings, they got to spend all her money to take care of his father's health issue. Now she said she don't want to burden her children, for what she has been through for the 2 generations. She has to take care of herself. She don't want the same thing that happened to herself, to her children. You see, I'm not talking about any religion or what, but again, we have to think, if we love our children, our family, we should do something more. what they call it, practical. Yeah, let's be realistic, you see, because being vegetarian doesn't mean you won't get sick, let alone if you are not a vegetarian. Okay. So, Master Cheng said, sorry, skillful means or direct teaching. So actually, Master Cheng said, skillful mean actually is direct teaching. 方便法就是真实法。Okay, 莫忘出方式. So you see, sending you actually is a skillful mean to make people, you know, when you send food, people will accept. You see, yeah. So the key thing is that what do we implant behind every action that we do, every word that we say to the people, you know, along the way. You see, I always tell myself, my team, okay, don't wait for opportunity to come. You see, we have to create not just for ourselves, but for other people to follow. Okay, and you know what? When you create one, the next will come along the way. We don't. Why people suffering, or you know, what makes us continue for the 86 days? Of course, in between we face a lot of challenges and difficulties. You see, some issue, but again, I always remember Master Cheng said, we don't use layman's eyes to see things, to hear things, or to feel things. Okay, we have to use Dharma eye instead. Eventually, you know, the bodhicitta seeds will start to form. For example, you can see this picture of this storm coming, right? So what do you see? Okay, this is what layman person see. They always, you know, being a human being, always like to see suffering, you know, and they start to commenting on the suffering point of view. So we shouldn't do that, you see. And yeah, this is what a smart person I see, you see. But then again, is it enough? No, we shouldn't be that. You should see from a wisdom man's eye. You see, we have to look at both worlds, you know, the whole picture in totality, you see. And like the day I shared with my home sister, you see, when you see this flower, where do you normally see? You know, 在我们的佛台 or in our this, you know, what they call it, our prayers table. Yeah. So when a flower decay, what we do, we just take the flower and we throw, right? So why do we throw it away? Because it's already decayed. You see, so from a wisdom point of view, we should always understand the flower doesn't change the form. It's our eyes that, you know, perceive things. See what we see differently. So it's okay that we throw that away. But when we throw, okay, do we recall back the memories, you know, when it's still fresh, still new, you see? And when we throw that to the dustbin, how do you feel? You know, I think we should have a gratitude towards the flower. You know, people always ask me, what kind of person you are, BroAverett? I think I'm a person who will say hello to flowers, to the ants, you see, because I always make connection, you know, things that happen before and now, you see. Okay. People ask me, why it is so important to go for Xinfa Xiang, you know, with some attain. Yeah, what is the link? You know, will that make you a very strong in Dharma? No, actually, you know, when you go attend Xinfa Xiang every day, it will never bring you direct to the Dharma, you know, but it will grow our wisdom life. How? What do I mean by that? Look, you see, there are people that are in three conditions. Some people are in a heavenly kind of environment, very nice, very soothing, you know, and some people are in a very suffering mode, you know, in hell, or some are like in between of no way, and they always believe that their life is always straight. So it means what? When they are in heaven, they always see things as beautiful. They never realize they are suffering people because they never go to this area. Just like in the COVID, you see, yeah, I have a quite decent lifestyle, but whenever I go, when these things, I go to these Lion hospitals or this in lockdown area, I see the suffering, you see. So attending Xinfa Xiang, you see, it will create a line, you see, to let us know the difference between, above and below us. And we realize actually life are not straight line. They are curved, and it's very depending on what we planted, you know, our seed in the past, the present, or the future. You see, and going through this Shifa Xiang, you see, tell me, you know, that the peaks and valley are one. All things are coexist. You see, when I'm in health, I tell myself there is a hope, you know, above me, but I need to do something to change my condition. So likewise, when I'm in heaven or good condition, must tell myself, this is not permanent, things will change. So I must do something to retain it. You see, 知福惜福再造福. You see, when we are in the 逆境的时候哦，应该说when we are in a good condition, we must tell us this is impermanent. So when we are in the best shape, we tell ourselves this is a law of karma. With that, we will have a peaceful mind. So from there, what I learned is that, you know, I am you, you are me. See, when I see something bad in you, it is because the bad is already inside me. You see, this is what Shifa Xiang can bring us. Like Brother Huang used one of his sharing said, we do need to remember everything, you know, the whole 1 hour. You just need to remember one part or one single word, and you understand it, deep understanding. See, and you make connection with what you hear and what you've been exposed or what you have been through or Dharma reading. So we create connection. Master Cheng wants us to, you know, connect people that have Wu Yuan become Yu Yuan. You see, and let the seed grow. You see, and with this, we know that life actually are not straight and they are border crossing. You see, all we need to do is just mindfully accept it, and everything actually is non-duality. Ji师兄, there's one sharing, you know, during his talk is that 心与不信都是福. So from there, when we know that, you know, no matter where we are, good or suffering, we are, you know, in the blessing. It's all how depends on how we see things. The next picture, as you see, what do you see? What needs to focus when things happen? You see, not the environment. Okay, not the environment, not the clouds. The cloud will be constantly moving, you know, the wind will blow. So if we're focusing on the cloud, we have no time for ourselves. What we need to focus instead is our heart. We look deep inside our heart and do not get bothered by the environment or situation. You see, we what do you call it? 明心见性, or you understand yourself, the true nature of ourselves. So I like this word, you see, 知觉 or 知觉. All right. 知 means know, 觉 means feel. Okay. A lot of people thought they have this 知觉, but no. We are in the state of 知. We only know, but we don't have the feel. So how do we need to have the feel? You see, we have to go through what people is suffering. 人伤我痛，人苦我悲. You know, we understand people's pain. You know, 无言大慈，同体大悲嘛. So by looking at this, because I myself I don't really know much on Chinese like you all, but you know I love to learn Chinese because it's a very special word. You see, one short word can represent the whole situation. Mindfulness, we all about mindfulness, because I know when I newly joined Tzu Chi, Master Cheng never encouraged me go for what they call meditating. So I asked how come. Later part, then only I know meditating is all about mindfulness. Mindfulness is not just still and do nothing. When we walk, we talk, we eat, we sleep with mindfulness. You see, yeah, when we send food to the hospital, yeah, we have to have a state of mind of mindfulness. You see, right speech. Yeah, because everything that we say will represent our community. You see, so I think I'm almost the end of my slide. So 无言从一发兴起 So you see, one point of what they call it, sending meals to this hospital, okay, frontliners. And we have what they call that, numbers of connection that we come across border with so many people. Yeah. So finally, I would like to end my slide with this Jing Yi, living to serve humanity is the life of genuine human beings. Working just to make a living is the life of an ordinary living beings. 人生难得，佛法难求，名声 怎么说？人生难得哦，佛法难闻啊，名字难求。对了 ，OK， so thank you everyone, okay, for hearing my sharing. Back to you, Sister Tzu Chi.
To our Hualien.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you for BroAverett sharing regarding how you to promote vegetarian diet to the front line in the medical departments. And I believe that as you fully utilize your time, you will accomplish many things in the task that you are, having the mission to do it. And it's true, I can see that in the short period of time, you guys have done a lot of the right thing, which is you get the right concept from the master. So, and you truly, the role model of the Bodhisattva is written in the text, but you guys is living out the model of the Bodhisattva into the right action, and to, you're not just to understand, but you can feel the need of the suffering people and for the front line of the medical or personal staff, what they need and what they're shortage of. So it's truly amazing that you guys do a good job, and thanks for you guys have to contribute your time and all the effort you have done. Yeah, keep doing this good thing and keep inspiring more people to join our rank of this Bodhisattva path. Yeah, thank you to the time, and I think it's for me to end my feedback. Thank you, and thank you for everyone. Thanks.
Cảm ơn Huang sư phụ. Cảm ơn BroJoe, BroAverett, utmost gratitude. Very grateful for sharing, just testifying the few chapters 21, 22, and 23. There will be extension to 8:30 later. Okay, thank you, brothers and sisters, for your presence. Hope that each of us could sustain the Dharma joy and take in Hualien love to our life. Let us invite our Master Huang to lead us in paying homage. Let us please make 3 bows to the Buddha and our Master as we depart to apply these teachings in our daily life. Let us pay our respects to our teachers of life, universal truth. Palms together. First bow. Second bow. Third bow. And a bow to our beloved Huang Sư Phụ, who give us great guidance today. Cảm ơn Huang Sư Phụ. Cảm ơn. Okay, over to Brother Robert for the next session.
Yeah.
Hey, brother.
Yes, cảm ơn so much to all the joyful and inspiring, wonderful sharing from our brother Everett, and brother Joe this morning. It's been like I said, very joyful morning since 5:20 Xin Fa Xiang and with this sharing, and now we are continuing with this extended bonus session, we call it. Of course, this session, like I said, we are grateful to Brother Joe, Huang, and Sister Tzu Chi for initiating it. Okay, we will, due to time constraint, I think we will immediately go for the sharing. Today, we are very grateful to invite our Sister Effie to join us for this sharing. Can we please welcome Sister Effie? Sister Effie, are you there? Hi, Sister Effie.
Good morning, everyone. Actually, I have some PPT, but because of time, I will not put up the PPT. I will review what I have learned throughout this period. I would like to bring back memories to June 4th, where the Xin Fa Xiang Master was telling us about cherishing the affinity. So during that day, I was very touched with Master mentioning going back, flashing her memories to her relationship with Grandmaster Yin Shun. So with the short 6 words that she had received from Grandmaster Yin Shun, she established Tzu Chi to what it is today. So that reminds me my commissioning in November 15, 2017. At that point of time, I do not understand a word of Chinese. I can't understand Chinese and can't read and all that. So that that moment when I was commissioned was very near to when Master pinned on the badge to me, and I did not know what to say or what to expect, but something blurted out from my mouth when I saw Master's face. That moment, that second, I blurted out without knowing at all, without knowing and understanding. I just blurted out saying that, Master, I will do 经世人文. I only know to say, I only know this word. I only do 经世人文. So without, I just thought that I just going through that only, so I forgot about it. So this one reminds me that June 4th, brings back memories to me that I have to go back to my vows. I think that is a vow, maybe, to go back to my vows, because Master have been talking about vows, the 4 great vows and other small vows that we have during the series of Xin Fa Xiang that we have. So it's a great reminder for me, and that was that I have a responsibility. So equivalent to what Master was talking in chapter 22, entrustment. Before that was the transcendent power. So when I came back, doing some work, Tzu Chi activities, sometimes I made a lot of problems, faced a lot of problems, because still in the early stages, even under right to now. So that day, Xin Fa Xiang gave me the energy and strength again to go back to my vows to carry on. So that's what I learned. And then on the June 12th, Master was saying 4 great vows, and always must have faith, because I face a lot of problems, and averagely I have only 4 hours of sleep every day since Xin Fa Xiang, the last 3-4 years. So I only have 4 hours of sleep, and daytime I'm full of volunteer work. So sometimes I may fall, and it tells me that June 12th, the entrustment that I have to strengthen my faith and uphold the vow that I have made unknowingly, and then put into action, no doubt, facing problems. So I recall that is the entrustment of what on June 12th, the Xin Fa Xiang was saying, when Sariputra, he requested Buddha to expound Lotus Sutra, to reveal the Lotus Sutra 3 times. Then only Buddha revealed the teachings thereupon, and then the people who attended the Mahasattva and Bodhisattva, even though they are very highly cultivated, they still come back to listen to to Buddha's teaching. So I learned something here during the day, June 12th, that I only know so little, or maybe I do not know at all Dharma. So I should aspire to learn like the Mahasattva and Bodhisattva, never give up, continue to walk this Bodhisattva path. Yes.
That's the bird? Outside bird.
Yes, I know it's a very long and a tough journey, because upon learning Dharma, only that I'm aware of my shortcomings, my habitual tendencies maybe to improve. So I have to, I realized that realization dawned on me upon learning the Dharma, listening to the Xin Fa Xiang, which I'm very grateful for these 4 years that have transformed me to a better person, to shoulder responsibility. So willingness to shoulder a responsibility is equivalent to entrustment. That's what I learned on the June 12th. And apply it, accept this responsibility willingly, to walk this Bodhisattva path, so that we can benefit more and more people beside us, and have no fear, despite facing difficulty, have no fear. Walk steadfastly, because the journey is long and arduous and treacherous. So on June 17, something came to my mind. Actually, I had a dream on the few days ago, June 12th, a dream that someone showed me a text message in the dream, and it was exactly at 3:25. That's the time I usually wake up. And beside there was a voice. I do not know, maybe I linked this to the transcendent power. Maybe I've slackened in my daily activities or what. So this dream has a few words for me. In the text, I saw it was in English, but beside my ear, it was spoken in Chinese. The words goes like this. I still remember to today. Someone touched on my shoulder and showing me the text message was saying that when others are in pain, or when others are hurt, we feel their pain. When others are in suffering, I feel the sorrows. Effie, please continue. I know your sufferings. I know what you're going through. So that morning at 3:25 a.m., I had that dream. When I woke up and I realized that I have to recall and renew my vows to continue to walk, to make my life more meaningful with a purpose. That's what Master have mentioned on June 17. How long is our life? A lifespan is very short. So with that message, even though I'm not sure what it's trying to tell me, so I remember Master says that do things that benefit others. Be simple in your living, be simple. Because that day Master pointed out about a 70-year-old sister telling Master, sharing with Master that she worried about her daughter-in-law, which is 50 years old. That strikes me. Why? Why do we worry? Why am I so worried? So that little story woke me up that do not spend time, waste my time away going to those nitty-gritty things that we are. I'm grateful that Dharma always make me very conscious, more and more conscious and aware what's happening, and it helps to shorten my not so good response to shorten. Maybe last time, few years back, it was 3 months. Now after that, gradually it goes to 2 months, 1 month, and now I can transform within second. And the environment does not affect me much. So Master says that we need to live our life with no regrets. So I was thinking that though I face some problem in carrying the activity, I must self-reflect that just like what just now Brother Everett was saying, I'm you, you are me, right? So I have to strengthen my resolve and be more and walk towards to the non-self deeper and deeper, so that to enhance my wisdom life and not to let Master worry for the responsibility that she entrusted to me. Probably, maybe that promotion of Jingsi products, maybe, I don't know, because at the point of time when I spoke to her, I did not realize anything at all, not aware. So maybe I should continue to carry on, despite I have other responsibilities in my own community, keeping me very busy and having very little time. But Master says that 86,400 seconds make our life, meaningful, simple, just simple. Like June 25th, Master was saying that simple cultivation starts with having good speech, good thoughts, and good actions. Manifest that. Though these 3 words sounds very simple to me years ago, but I found it very profound as Master goes on during Xinfa for these few weeks. So very much more contemplation for me on June 25th about this having good speech and good thoughts and good actions that I must carry on and to enhance my cultivation to strengthen my wisdom life and to carry on carry on Master's mission with Buddhas in my heart. This is my sharing today.
Kanan so much, Sister Effie, for your wonderful sharing and for your very important reminder for us to refresh our vows. Over to you, Brother Joe.
Okay, thank you, Brother Robert, and thank you, Sister Effie. It's always so delighted. Master De Huang, before she left, wanted me to tell everybody how she is inspired and amazed by all of your dedication and diligence. And so I would like to say that, and also on my own behalf too, that to be able to carry on such diligence is truly the key to cultivation. Thanks to Sister Effie sharing, especially bring us back to the June 4th. I'm not sure if you have the opportunity to listen to my sharing on the Chinese side. I think it was 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago that I shared particularly about an analogy with the plant that is on the table of Master during the morning Dharma talk. And I think it was a perfect encapsulation of how the cycle works, how the cycle of affinity. This is very similar to what Brother Everett mentioned about the affinity, about whether we have the affinity or not. And what amazed me the most was you could get so little, yet get so much out of it. And that's what Master has shown us, that even though that there wasn't a lot of contact, but there was a lot of actions and a lot of things and a lot of life that was going into just that simple phrase, 为佛教为众生. And that was a very key message to all of us. We have heard so much of Master's teaching. How far are we carrying on her missions? Whereas she only heard that inspiration, and Master went on for more than 50 years. And it's something that you could say that, well, if Master only told me one thing, I would go a long way, but she kept on talking, so I keep on hearing, and it doesn't equate. Well, you could say that, but I think it goes to show you that the Dharma isn't about how much you have, but it's about how much you understand and how much you are willing to go. So it's just going back once again to Brother Everett's sharing. It's the practice, and from the practice, you actually have gained more insight and being able to share. And not only that, I think what Master did the most was she brought all of us along with it. Okay, if you look at Dharma Grandmaster In Shun, he wrote a lot, books, essays, and all the commentaries and all of that. But to be honest, this was left to the people who are interested to study Buddhism as a knowledge, and I'm sure it's practice too. But just recently I wanted to recently I picked up the book by Grandmaster In Shun, and it was deep. I looked at it, I read it before, I couldn't understand much, and I thought after a few years I would do it again and see how far I could make, how far the progress I could make. And no, the answer is not very far. It's hard, okay? You had to really sit down, and just like what Master is showing us right now, what Master is showing us is that we had it so easy in that she explains phrase by phrase. But to do that, she had to go through all the necessary commentaries and all the dictionaries on Buddhist terms, and to incorporate that with what's happening in Tzu Chi, and also make it so that we can understand. Okay, so we don't have to do all the work. Master did it for us. We just need to sit there and listen to all the things that was already, there. So I think to respond to what Sister Effie said on the 25th, the key to 25th, I believe, was that 普使诸权小，悉证成菩提. But if you remember in the 法华经序, it was 普使诸权小，悉证 something. Maybe I forgot at this moment. I knew it was different. 悉证佛菩提, or something like that effect. That it was a little bit different, but the key was that all these efforts were for those people who might not be so keen to understand the deep, the profound teachings. 普使诸权小, like us, 悉证佛菩提, like us, that we have an opportunity to. For the most part, I think Master goes to the people to teach, whereas Grandmaster In Sun teach the teachers. And what Master is revolutionizing is that she teaches the populace and make the populace the teacher. So that's the very subtle difference. And that's why Sister Effie mentioned this June 25th, to be simple, to be straightforward, to be not so complicated as part of Master's talk. That was the key. You make it very difficult, you could only reach out to the teachers. But if you make it simple and understandable and relatable, then you make it to all the populace, and then slightly go deeper. Some of them would actually be able to follow, and then they will be the teachers themselves, and they will teach on their own. And I think that was the key difference. But regardless of the difference in methodology, I think for each time period, you need a hero of that time period. And I think that was one of the key is the affinity. Sister Effie did not understand Chinese, but the affinity is right for her to be on that stage to say what she said to the Master. And lo and behold, you have your vow and now you're walking it. Amazing that you're now the teacher of Dharma, even though at first you didn't understand the language. Can you imagine that? But if you look at right now, it doesn't seem so hard to imagine, right? Because none of us speak Sanskrit, right? None of us speak the original language that Buddha, spoke in. So how in the world do we understand what Buddha was teaching? So we know that that wasn't the key. It has never been the key. So what has been the key? The dedication, the diligence, the heart, and the practice, which is exactly what every one of us is doing, which is exactly what our Master has brought us on this journey. Okay, so thank you all. Once again, I'd like to say that for all of your efforts, you are advancing, progressing so fast that I really feel that, every day with all this understanding and gaining more, I think, there will be a time very soon that the opening slot, 7 to 7:30, will be a collection or collage of you guys, of whoever, right? Coming to say, oh, let me do 5 minutes on one day or 10 minutes on 2 days or a whole day or whatnot, and share a principle, an idea, a concept. And I'll be more than happy to get online and to listen to what you guys have to share. And that will be the day where I just, time's ready, got on and listen to what you guys had to say, and then just say thank you, everybody, and get Masters all coming to listen. That's all I have to do. That will be the day for me to look forward to. So thank you so much, and keep up the good diligence work. And you're all my role models, really. You're spending your time more wisely than I could ever do. So thank you, and Brother Roberts, thank you all for organizing this. It's really, I wish Master could sit in, Master Cheng could sit in and understand all the things that we're talking about. and then see that her disciples are working so tirelessly to propagate this Dharma. So thank you all. Thank you.
Yes, Kanan. Yeah, Kanan, so much.
Sorry, Brother Robert. Brother Joe, you wish to share this mini water repentance?
Can't hear you, Brother Joe.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sister Xiaoqing, and sorry to go over time, but I think it's very important that we here as a group do something more than just talking about Dharma. And it's not that you guys just talk about Dharma, right? I know you guys practice, you guys do a lot of things as a volunteer when you're off the camera. But I think we have this platform established to reach out to all those people who might have trouble understanding Dharma because of language. Now we got this platform. Now we're here able to spread the Dharma and able to share the Dharma and able to share the stories. Now it's time to think about how to link Dharma with actually doing something. It's not just sharing your story, my story, her story, but no, let's make this platform do something, right? We're always sharing actions of the things that we do. Like, for example, in the hospital or in the charity, as a xie, as a huai, as all the refugee work, right? That's all fine. That's all very important. But this platform is more than just talking and sharing about Dharma and sharing about other things. This is also a platform of work, of practice. So let's think about how we can make it to reality by having this, the idea of this mini water repentance. Let us use this platform to try to get people together to actively work to try to promote the idea of vegetarian diet using this platform. So everybody on this platform on that day, we will now share and share our stories of conversion, converting from to become vegetarian or converting other people, right? And not just that, but we can have a lot of stories about how the journey is and why, and how we have repented and changed. So the idea was that this mini water repentance is going to take place on September 26th. And it's going to go from 6:30 to 7:30. So it's going to be for a full hour. And it's going to have people sharing, and we're going to sing the water repentance, and we're going to have these open confession or open stories of success or failure, whatever it is. But this group as a whole is not just about Dharma, but it's about Dharma in action and Dharma in practice. And we're going to have sign language too, which I'm sure all of you will organize, and we'll just be here and watching carefully and happily as you do all the sign language. So other than that, I think it's very crucial that there is a form out there to apply, to register. Because if you want to share something, if you would like to participate, that we would be able to know ahead of time, and most importantly, pledge for veggie meals, okay? So I'm sure Sister Xiaoqing will supplement with the link and also with more details. And all I'm doing is the mouthpiece. I'm just sharing that I think it's very important. Let's make it happen. Let's make this platform not just about Dharma sharing, but also Dharma doing, okay? Thank you.
Yeah, Kanan so much, Brother Joe. Actually we have on standby our talented sister Wan Chin to share, but I think due to this limited time constraint, it will not be justified for her to share in this limited time. I think we will request her to keep her for the next Saturday. So before we end today's session, we wish to express Kanan and grateful to all for being here today, and Kanan to our heartfelt sharing from SisEffie, and of course, big Kanan to our brother Joe, who is always here to guide us. I think we have learned so much from you. I think the power that you have really passed to us. I think we are all blooming now, slowly blooming and blooming now. So let us continue to learn from each other. Let us cultivate and this path diligently. And of course, I think there's a request that one of our sisters' father is not feeling well. He's gone through an operation. So let us dedicate some prayers and our merits to Sister Chin Yan's father. Okay, and we will have to end today's session. please don't forget our appointment with Sangren tomorrow, as usual, at 5:20. So see you, everybody. Have a good day. Amitofo. Bye-bye. Kanen so much. Kanen.